Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. But roster building season isn't quite over yet. And so what I want to do is focus on certainly one of the biggest names to enter the transfer portal this offseason. I still believe he can one day become one of the best players who has entered the transfer portal. That is former Kentucky guard DJ Wagner, former McDonald's All-American. At one point was the #1 player in the class of 2023, played last season at Kentucky. Since he entered the portal, it's been pretty quiet from the DJ Wagner perspective. He's a guy, even during his high school recruitment, doesn't do a ton of social media, doesn't have to be in the limelight, doesn't have to be whatever. But I bring it up because he enters the portal. I remember doing a big video when he entered. I still, like I said, I think he has a chance to be a very good college basketball player and eventually an NBA player. But really, seems like he's kind of taking it slow. Does not enter the NBA draft, so we know he's coming back to college. Takes a visit to USC, but there might be a little girlfriend situation out there. You know, I read the rumors. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but takes a visit to USC. And there's speculation that maybe, just maybe, he will be taking a visit to Florida down the road. But at the same time, this past weekend, he did visit the beautiful city of Fayetteville, Arkansas, which, by the way, because I had Arkansas and Kentucky fans arguing in my mentions the other day, according to one outlet, Fayetteville, the #4 city in America to live in, according to some outlet that was tagged in my Twitter a few days ago. But he visits Arkansas over the weekend. I think people might have even seen him at the baseball game. I know baseball had a big series with Mississippi State. Bring it up because the visit ends, and I think everybody, including me, kind of expected that a commitment was imminent. Remember, Jonas Adu was a Monday commitment after a visit a couple days before. Adu Thiero visits on a Thursday, Friday, something like that, commits on a Monday. And so I think everybody felt like, okay, it's mid-May. We're getting down the home stretch. This is going to be a quick in and out. Show him the dorms. Bring him to the baseball game. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and he'll be a Razorback. Only it didn't happen. And I've certainly had a fair number of Arkansas fans in my mentions kind of asking me, like, Torres, is there anything to worry about? How concerned should I be? And I think in defense of Arkansas fans, I understand why. You do need a point guard. I don't think John L. Davis is a point guard. Boogie Fland, you don't want a true freshman being a point guard in the SEC. Well, I bring it up because I'm here to tell Arkansas fans what Aaron Rodgers once told Packers fans. RELAX. Relax. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. But I do believe DJ Wagner is ultimately going to be an Arkansas Razorback. And let's go ahead and break it down. Let me explain why. First of all, let me start by saying this, is that, like I said a minute ago, you know, DJ, since I've been covering him, and I'm not claiming that I know him or his family or whatever, like I said a minute ago, very quiet, very cerebral kid, okay? Didn't do a ton of social media when he was in high school, even when he was one of the top couple players in America. Wasn't a big active on social media guy. Didn't have to have all the Joe Tipton graphics, and here's my top 12, and here's my top 6, and here's my top 5, and here's my commitment date. It was just very much, when I'm ready to release the information, I will. Matter of fact, if you remember, and Kentucky fans certainly will, there was like a 5-month window where we basically got no real information about his recruitment. Louisville hires his grandfather as an assistant coach. We think he's going to Louisville. There's never really any credible information to explain that he is. Then it goes quiet. And I remember basically talking about it for 4 or 5 months. Why is there no commitment? What does it mean? Is it going to happen? Is it not? And then a day before the 2022-2023 season starts, just commits to Kentucky out of nowhere. It wasn't a big, again, here's my top 5, here's my top 2, here's my commitment date, check me out on Instagram. It's just not who he is. So there's that. I think ultimately he knows what he wants to do and where he wants to go. And I don't think that, in his opinion, there's really much rush to it. I said this weeks ago. My understanding was that he was always going to finish the semester at Kentucky, get his grades in order. And when I say in order, that sounds negative, but just, get his grades done. And then he'd really focus on the recruitment from there. And so I don't believe that because he hasn't committed, it means something. And really bluntly, like, you start to look around the country, there aren't really a lot of good options left. I remember talking about this when Kaderi Richmond was kind of dragging his feet with St. John's. I had my St. John's people like, Torres, why is it taking so long? Should we be worried? It's like, where else is he going to go? There weren't that many teams that needed a point guard. There aren't that many now. You go through the list, like, who needs a point guard at this point? Obviously, Kentucky said he's not going back there. Louisville's set. UConn set. Carolina set. Duke set. St. John's is set. He's going to Arkansas. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But the other thing that I would say for Arkansas fans, this is also how John Calipari kind of operates. Calipari, I've never really seen anybody quite like him. I think even though, he's a little bit older, and I know all the Kentucky fans in the comment section will tell you he's washed up, tell you he's terrible, tell you he's this, tell you he's that, whatever. What I'm here to tell you is when it comes to recruiting, this dude always has his finger on the pulse of everything. And I think he's honestly usually playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. Again, you go back to some of his recent big commitments, it was like you didn't even hear anything, and then boom, Calipari gets the job done. When Aaron Bradshaw committed to Kentucky last fall, 2 falls ago, I guess it would have been, nobody knew, like, he was on his visit to Kentucky. Nobody expects a commitment. Then boom, Friday night, Big Blue Madness, done. Some of the stuff that's even happened this offseason, you quietly get John L. Davis to campus. He quietly commits. It gets leaked. He ends up signing. But, like, there was no, like, I don't know. It's how Calipari operates. By the way, Big Z, nobody even knew Kentucky was recruiting him. Then on, like, a Friday, you find out, oh my God, there's this 7'2" Croatian kid that Arkansas or that Kentucky is interested in, that Calipari is interested in. And by, like, Monday, it was a done deal. And so when I go ahead and look at this whole situation, I just don't see that much reason for Arkansas fans to worry. DJ's a quiet kid. He doesn't do stuff for social media, and Cal kind of operates in the shadows. It's what he's always done. He's always done well. And I think more importantly, Arkansas fans, if it makes you feel better, he made a couple comments the other day that kind of insinuated that this thing is basically on the goal line. He did one of those booster events. We all know the booster events that happen this time of year. The famous booster events of, Jimbo Fisher, blah, 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 blah. Remember when Jimbo Fisher had that press conference, or he did the booster event where he said, we're going to beat Alabama before I get out of here. And it became a national story. And then Nick Saban a couple of years ago, when he made the comments about NIL, Texas A&M bought their whole roster. Bring it up because those booster events happen this time of year. And on Tuesday night, Cal and the Arkansas coaches had a booster event in the state of Arkansas. And so he made some quotes that make it seem, like I said, like it's on the goal line, like it's going to be done. Basically was talking about the fact that, hey, the greatest compliment that I can have is that a couple guys that played for me now have their sons playing for me. That's in reference to Billy Richmond. That's in reference to Adu Thiero. Then he says, oh, and we hope to get another one. Then he's talking about the players that are following him from Kentucky to Arkansas. And he says, yeah, we got 2 of those as well, Big Z and Adu Thiero, and we hope to have a third. And so in my opinion, this is going to get done, and it's going to get done in the coming days. And I'll tell you what, when it does happen, there will be a fun conversation to be had about Arkansas. What does it mean? What does their roster look like? How good can they be? Because I do know everyone's going to tell you all the negatives, but when I look at that top 8 with a DJ Wagner, that looks like a top 10 to 12 roster, maybe even more in college basketball. And then I will say, I think it gets interesting as far as how he fills out the roster from there. He's talked a lot about the idea of we really may only have 8 to 9 scholarship players. To me, I'd rather have that than what he had last year, where he had 11 guys, and all of them wanted to play towards the end. But as far as DJ Wagner is concerned, if I was an Arkansas fan, I would not be worried all too much.